The company you keep. Let's talk about that for a minute. So, growing up, my grandmother and my mother would always say, "Show me your friends, I'll show you you. Birds of a feather flock together. Watch who you hang around." And I used to hate when they say that because my belief has always been that as long as you are your own person, your own leader, you don't have nothing to worry about when it came to those things. You would always be able to, lead yourself and you wouldn't become like other people as long as you was following your own path. Well, that is somewhat true, but sometimes that can be a little twisted. Like growing up, I had a few friends. I had like maybe three friends. Like I hung out with two guys and maybe two female friends. Um, Me and these people were friends throughout like elementary school, middle school, high school. Some of us went to college together, and some of us even moved away to the same cities after college. I moved to the city that I moved to because I wanted a different life for myself. I wanted a better job because I didn't finish college, so I needed a true career. And the trade that I was pursuing or that I have pursued was like you can get a really good job. And plus the lifestyle, like where we lived, there was nobody, and so moving to Atlanta was just like what it was at the moment. Anyway, back to the subject. So I had a plethora of friends, or whatever, when I moved out here. A lot of them didn't live here. I had like two that lived here. And so everything was going good when I lived here. The first few years I lived by myself. I was at peace. I wasn't even making no money. I was making like $964 every 2 weeks after taxes. And somehow I was able to afford all my living, pay my car note, pay my rent, eat. Everything was great. I was living. And I just felt like, dang, God. I was like, God, I don't have no friends for real that live out here. I want to make more money. God, would you please bless me with a better job and bless me with some friends in my life? You got to be careful what you ask for because God did just that. He blessed me with some friends. Some of them were good for me, some of them wasn't. He blessed me with a better job. And that's when I learned that the more money you make, the more problems you have. The more people you surround yourself with, the more problems you have. Sometimes you can't decipher the real from the fake. And when it comes to money, if you ain't managing it well, you ain't investing it right, it becomes an issue for you. So out of all my friendships I ever had, I always am the leader in the group. Everybody always depends on me to make the decisions. I hate to say it, I'm not being egotistical, but I will say that I'm always the one with the better job or the more finances in the group during that time. That's how it was. So a lot of my friends they either lived with me or they always brought money for me. Like I've always been like a free heart person. I'll give you anything. I'll give you the shirt off my back if you needed it. Anyway, long story short, so I was roommating with a really good friend I had met here. We was great friends. We had a great friendship for a number of years before we even roommated together, and we actually roommated together twice. I think like the first time we stopped roommating together because he started living with his boyfriend, and so the second time we roommated together, it was great. We had a great roommate situation. But then I had a friend from back home that I grew up with. He ended up moving down here. He like moved back and forth down here a few times, but during one point in his life, he moved down here. He was gonna live with me. The deal was that he would give me a ride to work or from work when I needed it because I didn't have like my own car. I would use one of my friend's cars because he had an extra one. And when I couldn't use it, I was gonna depend on him for a ride. And he would just not have to pay me anything. He would just be able to live with me until he got on his feet. Well, that was in 2019, I would say, maybe 2018. And he only took me to work twice out of the whole 7 months he lived with me. He took me to work twice. So I was like, dang, that's crazy. But nevertheless, I still allow him to continue to stay with me. I was going through a lot in my personal life. Like I knew I wanted to change my situation. I didn't want to hang around people that was mooching off me. I felt like my friends weren't prospering. I felt like they wasn't moving forward. And I just didn't want to be around that. Like I was traveling for work a lot and I would come home and my shit would be missing. Somebody been had a party at my house. They be having geekers and crackheads and shit at my house. One guy was over there, a needle fell out his motherfucking pocket while he was sitting in the living room. I went in my room. I got my nine off the shelf. I went to my roommate and I said, "You got 5 minutes to get them geeking ass motherfuckers out of my house." I went in my room, shut the door, counted to 10. And when I came back out, the whole living room was clear. But anyway, During that time, I knew I was just like, I gotta end this shit some type of way. Like, everybody gotta go. You know, I gotta go. I don't live here anymore. Blah 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 blah. Well, during that time, I ended up stopped traveling because Corona had just hit, and I was working locally. wasn't even making that much money, so I kind of was like forced to move out my apartment all of a sudden. And during that time, I was going through a lot. Like I said, mentally, I was getting rid of people. They say we change every 7 years, and I think I was at that mark for change. Well, my friend that was moved up there with me to give me a ride from work, and I was gonna let him live there for free. We have been friends for over 20 years, and when he moved up there, he had loaned me $200 because I needed it for whatever reason. And it was definitely a loan, $200. Well, I didn't pay him back for a while. He wasn't studying it. He lived with me for free for over 6 months. And so when it was time to move, he was going through some things, and he was like, "Listen, are you gonna give me back those $200?" And I'm like, "No, why would I give you that back? You've been living in my house for free for over 6 months. You ain't hold up your end of the deal on giving me a ride, or you just been living up here, and then they had your damn friend staying here sometime too for motherfucking free." Hell no. I ain't give you no $200. Well, this friend went and like talked about me to mutual friends. Like, I don't know what was said, but some of it got back to me, and I just kind of like put them on block because I'm the type of person where I'm not confrontational. If you're not good for me, or you one of these messy people out here that deal and do that kind of stuff, I'm just gonna remove you from my life and be done with you. So this person got so upset that I moved him from my life, that I got rid of him, that he went on Facebook, started dragging my name to people that we knew from back home, like started sowing discord, as they say in the Bible, among me and my family members. Like, how could you even do that? That's so low for $200. And during the process of all these things happening, I was just thinking to myself, wow, is it really over $200? Is there something else? Because $200 just doesn't seem like a lot of money for you to be doing all this. Like, I did not understand it at the time. Um, so meanwhile, that person did all that, after I had asked him to move out my house, and I even moved out my house, and my other roommate was forced to move all of a sudden. And we ended up falling out because of that reason, because I put him in a position where he had to find somewhere to live. And that was not good. But it started. Family members started reaching out to me saying, why is this person saying these things about you? Why is he coming with this? Like, it was whole lies and half truths. I will say that. But nevertheless, that's what happened. And it just really hurt me that the person would do that, go to my family and say all these things and try to, sow discord among me and my family. When you mess with my family, that's a whole nother different ball game. So I say that to say that you really have to be mindful and be careful for who you allow into your circle, because people come into your life for a reason, people come into your life for a season, but sometimes we invite people into our life and into our circle, and they never were supposed to be there. I truly feel that God have removed a lot of those people out of my life, out of my circle, because they was not good for me and for this journey that I'm on. They wouldn't even fit into the journey that I'm on right now. So I'm glad that that happened, but I'm not happy the way that it happened. I was, like I said, I was really hurt behind it, and we have not been friends or spoken to each other to this day behind it. And I never will speak to those people involved that were involved in that again, because I feel like I was a good friend. I let you live with me. Even though I didn't pay you the $200, I feel like you living with me for 6, 7 months, $200, baby, you was living for free. So I just don't know. Am I wrong for feeling like that? Am I right for feeling like that? At this point, it really don't matter. But I look back in hindsight and I say, I asked God for these friends, and I asked God to bless me with more money and a better job, and He did. He blessed me way up when it comes to the job, and that came with a lot of stress too. And He blessed me way up with the friends. But as I look back now, I would love to go back to being that boy, that or that man that was in that peaceful place in that little bitty 600 square foot apartment, coming home every day, watching my shows from work by myself, minding my business, eating. That's the most peace I ever had in my life. And still to this day, I am fighting to get that level of peace back into my life. Like people just don't understand. So I say that to say appreciate the small things in your life. And really when you talking to God about what you want and you manifesting things to him and praying, really be mindful of what you praying for. Be careful and be specific. When they say be specific, be Pacific. I'm gonna say Pacific. Be Pacific about what you praying for because God will give you just that. And I promise you, He is giving me every desire of my heart. Sometimes I even feel guilty because, like my job, I asked Him for this job, and I'm complaining about the stresses it brings, about being in these leadership roles that I really don't want to be in, be responsible for all this stuff, and I'm sitting there going, Bentley, why are you whining and crying? This is what you asked God for. So I have to really be careful, and learn to not be ungrateful with the blessings that He has blessed me with. So I just wanted to come with that message about being thankful, being mindful of who you have around in your circle, and being grateful and being pacific about what you ask God for. And that's it.